Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the talks with the opposition at this time as far as the government is concerned. Of course, we heard what Khwaja Asif also said today. There seems to be, it seems a rather difficult kind of situation as far as these talks are concerned, with the PTI saying that they're going to have started their launch of the movement all over as far as their movement across the country is concerned. But of course the talks are supposed to continue tomorrow, that is Tuesday, and on 2nd May, and it remains to be seen what happens. But the both two sides seem rather susceptible as far as to the fate of these talks themselves. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about what it can mean for the political process if these talks do not come back with a successful result, as far as one day of on the date of the general elections. Of course, the one main contention is the date of the general elections, and that one date, as far as the PMLN is concerned, it's adamant that there will be, the PDM as a whole, that there should be one day across the board for general elections. And as far as the PTI is concerned, they still say that 14th May, which seems rather difficult at this time. We'll be talking about overall the situation as it means, and in terms of the options there are at this time for the opposition if the talks do not succeed. All of that today on Perspective. A little later on, we'll also be talking about the Indian atrocities in Kashmir and the ramifications of the treatment of Muslims there, and of course minorities generally, and the way that we've seen recently the state of Kashmir overall, and the treatment being meted out to the minorities all over, which has now become a cause for concern all over the world. It's fast getting there. We'll be talking about that. I have with me today Agha Ikrar Haroon, who's a political analyst. Thank you for being with us today. A little later on, we'll have with us Rana Maqbool Ahmad, who's a senator with PMLN, and Faisal Kareem Kundi, who's special assistant to the Prime Minister. Agha Sahab, overall, as far as the situation is concerned at this time, like we were earlier saying, it seems to be a difficult kind of point in the negotiations. Are you still hopeful?
I have never been. I have no hopes with these talks, because one party wants talk with a decision already announced by their leader. Imran Khan, even day before yesterday and again yesterday, he categorically said, I need elections on 14th of May, or you can say in June.
But is he being,
so how can you go for any talks with other parties?
But at this time, of course, it seems an unreasonable demand. You think that what's the reason for sticking to it, in your opinion?
Very good question. There are many theories, and there is one theory which I believe, but I cannot share the entire theory over sitting over here. But you can well understand when I will give you a little of that. Basically, Imran Khan wants election before September 15 or 16th. Because after that there are some
appointments, you're saying, retirements, which they're not going to be too happy about.
Yes. So as he had been stuck with election before 26th of November, he was trying his level best to get the election before the 26th of November.
Because of an earlier appointment.
Yes, there was another appointment. So it's a game of appointments. And I think Imran had been totally failed in November. He had been failed to take people out on street, and he would be again failed to get this September 16th or 15th issue. I mean, government can go, this is my understanding, government can go to disband National Assembly maybe in July, after having one budget, the next budget, and if the assembly is dissolved in July, and assembly wouldn't be dissolved, automatically, because automatically at August, then it would be 3 months. So, August, September, October. So election would be held in October. So whosoever would be, the new government would be in October 15th or 16th. This is what my understanding with the
Okay,
entire
fair enough.
situation.
Let me go to Rana Maqbool Saab. Ji, Rana Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Rana Saab, there is, at this time, clearly your party has a stance as far as these talks are concerned. Of course, they started with, I would say, a lot of optimism, but it seems that, that optimism is now fast fading. Why? Do you think that there are, what do you see as the chances of there being success there?
My salam to all the friends attending this program. Maruf, fundamentally, the latest demand by the leader of opposition is that the National Assembly is to be dissolved, along with other 2-3 assemblies before 14th, which cannot be met.
Okay.
So that will become a stumbling block as far as the success of the negotiation is concerned. He has been always asking for moon and making absolutely ingenuine demands. Starting from day one, once he was ousted from the National Assembly on the basis of vote of no confidence, he himself quitted. And I tell you, he always takes non-political actions. And perhaps he is not getting proper guidance what to do. Now, afterwards, he went after dissolution of the provincial assemblies, where he was wielding power. And now he himself dissolved the assemblies, and now he says that general election should be announced. Is there a whole of the country to accede to all his demands, which are absolutely ingenuine?
But Rana
So
Sahib, of course,
somebody has to put foot down.
Point taken. But of course, we've had this discussion before that in the larger interests of there being, stability in the country now, that the PTI is again talking about, this movement which they're saying, according to them, is going to be historic. It's going to, is it going to create upheaval? Is it going to, again, go towards destabilization? Is that the goal? How do you see it?
Marukh, you might have observed already, he has been always going for tall claims. He said, I will topsy-turvy everything. I'll topsy-turvy Islamabad once I reach there. And you'll see the mammoth crowds, the ocean of crowds coming over to Islamabad. And you saw what happened. And of late, he also went for long march. And you might remember how many people were there to cause any difficulty for the government. So much so he claimed that he will not be allowing the army chief to be appointed and take over. He always talks strange and makes strange
I want to talk
demands.
about that. I want to talk about the appointment.
I tell you, maybe he is going for these claims, but he'll not succeed. And let him do this. If he doesn't listen to sense, let him do this. And let him test his strength again.
You're saying that the government is prepared for them to take whatever measures that they want if the talks fail, and you will deal with it.
Absolutely. And
Okay,
government preparedness is of that level. And genuine combat capability is available with the people who have to enforce law.
Okay, fair enough. Let me go to Faisal Kareem Pundi Saab, and then I'll come back to you. Ji, Faisal Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ji, Faisal Saab, is this, there's a lot of talk about appointments as far as, the urgency with which the PTI is now talking about and insisting on the date of 14th May. Do you think that has a role to play in this demand? And do you think that, there is going to be any sway, or is it just something on the table, and you think that it can be, that they will sway from it? How do you look at this overall?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maruf, there are talks going on, and you know that 2 days back, Pakistan People's Party senior leadership meeting was held, and we have decided that we should go for a talk because we believe that politicians always talk. There should be negotiation. We should talk with our coalitions. We should talk our opponents, and we should come to the conclusion. And then when there was a golden jubilee of the Constitution of Pakistan, the former President Zardari Sahab and Chairman Bilal Bhutto Zardari Sahab stressed on the dialogues. So now what we have said on dialogues, we think we have achieved our like half of the goal, because we always say that the Parliament is the forum for dialogues of politics. Supreme Court is not the forum for dialogues for the politician. Supreme Court has to give justice to the people of Pakistan. Parliament has to is the forum for politicians, where we do dialogue, where we will make amend constitution or whatever you want to do. That's the forum. Now, on the one side, Imran Khan is asking for election in May, or as soon as possible. On the other side, he is demanding that their resignation should not be accepted. We should come to Parliament, to the National Assembly back. We should have a leader of the opposition, whatever he has. And on the other hand, the provincial assemblies of Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which he has dissolved, he thinks, and he is going, that should be again revived. He is not talking about the constitution always. Is there anything in constitution that when you have dissolved the assembly of Khyber, of any province or national assembly, it can be revived again or it can be restored again? It's not possible.
So you're saying that is on the table. You're saying that they are saying they want to go back.
On one hand, he's asking for early election in May. On the other hand, he said, no, our assemblies should be again restored. So he is playing on the both sides of the pitch, and we don't know what's happening with him. But thing is, my personal belief is that they are not going to stick to it, and they have to again take the U-turn on that.
Okay. So you're anticipating the movement that they're talking about, the march that they're talking about. They say that it's going to be historic. You're anticipating that will follow.
They have already done on the advice of former General. He has said that I have dissolved the two provinces. Assembly, and I don't know what he has done other thing on the former General advice. But thing is, he has already done marches and everything, and public meetings and things. So he's welcome. If he wants to do, if he wants to do tomorrow, he should do it today. Who has stopped him?
But okay, fair enough. Let me come back to you. Agha Sahab, you heard what Kundi Sahab is saying, what Rana Sahab is saying. They're saying that there seem to be two different contradictory stances that the PTI is taking. That's not new. But do you think that if there doesn't seem to be a constitutional, like Kundi Sahab is saying, a reversal of this? I mean, it seems like something, and we've had legal experts also say that it seems rather difficult. It seems legally impossible to sort of go back to that situation where the PTI was in power in two of the provinces, and they chose to dissolve the assemblies at his behest.
Yes, it is very strange to understand. He had been cursing former Chief of the Army Staff for almost 7 months, and then he dissolved the provincial assembly on his advice in January 2023. Can a normal person understand this? I cannot, at least.
Okay.
So you can understand the state of mind of Imran Khan also. And Rana Sahab was saying that he is wanting a moon. So first of all, my salam to Rana Sahab. And basically, yes, because every time bringing the moon to earth for this Greek prince was done. Whenever he wanted a moon, the moon was granted to him by the entire system. Entire system, come what may. So he is habitual of that. So he is not thinking it is a post November 26, 2022 scenario. This is his problem. He is not coming out from this, the face, and that is why he is saying blah blah blah. It is only blah blah blah. You are cursing a person, and then you are telling me that you dissolved two assemblies just because of that person I had been cursing for the last 8 months. Non-normal. This is semiotically and cognitively impossible to understand and accept it. That come to the point. So you understand you have listened PMLN and Pakistan People's Party. Every polity is very clear. Imran Khan has never ever been accepted parliament and politician. How can he be little flexible with the politician in dialogue or in any deal? No, of course not. And that is why he doesn't want to sit, and that is why he changed his team. First, he asked two other person to be there because they both are, were inclined, sorry, to have some, you can say, a middle ground. But when he had this information that former chief minister and former defense minister has he was thinking about middle ground, so he changed his team. Why he did change his team? Because he wants his team to dictate the other party. So I don't think Pakistan People's Party and PMLN and the PDM at large is ready to accept dictation.
But Agha Sahab, okay, fair enough. They don't want to accept dictation. Let me go to Rana Sahab. Rana Sahab, do you think that like Agha Sahab is saying that he of course there seems to be no two opinions on the fact that both parties as main political parties as far as the PDM is concerned as a whole will not accept any kind of dictation. But the point is, as far as the PTI is concerned at this time, they've already had a long march. They've also distributed tickets at this time for the elections. Do you think that for them, in terms of options, what is left apart from this long march? And do you think that they'll be able to sustain it for how long will they be able to sustain it? What they believe if they want to mount pressure this way? There don't seem to be a lot of options on the table. Isn't that true?
My gratitude to Agha Sahab for Islam. I fully agree with him. I tell you, Marukh, this Johnny has gone, the leader, opposition leader, has gone totally berserk. He is awesomely or awfully idiosyncratic. And he has entered into the boundary of behavioral, incorrigible behavioral equilibrium. It's therefore he is doing strange things. He is embarrassing his party. He is also embarrassing his leaders and his disciples, political disciples. He is embarrassing everybody. His demand cannot be met. And option is that he's try to regain this lost wisdom, if at all it's possible. There is no option for him except for doing this. If he doesn't do that, then he'll face the music. He thinks that he'll try to demonstrate his power and his thrust vis-a-vis the government and other institutions. Let him do that. He'll again fail because he's faltering time and again.
Is it about appointments, in your opinion?
Oh yes, that is there. There are no two opinions about it, and it's very unfortunate that there's some appointment or some posting or some tenure is connected with such a situation. That's very unfortunate. People are justified in developing this perception over a period of time, and of late, starting from the interpretation of Article 63A, which was rather rewritten, the credibility of the decision-making echelon that started mitigating and getting reduced. That started diminishing very badly. And afterwards, once a case was pending in the High Court, an appeal was pending in the High Court, an intra-court appeal before the division bench, the two honorable judges, they moved a petition or a request or a reference to the Honorable Chief Justice when they were taking up a service matter, and they recommended suo motu should be taken. How can suo motu could be taken once the case was already sub judice and it was being heard by the division bench of a High Court. It was an extraordinary move, and once it was put up before the bench of 9-member, two recused. And what the four senior most judges said, like Mansoor Shah and Mando Khair, and what a pure man he is, like Atramanullah. What did they say? And Ebony showed this move is not lawful. It cannot be entertained.
But
So,
but
though this controversy,
he's hoping for that void ab initio move to happen as far as the two assemblies are concerned. Isn't that true?
hope it's very unfortunate that institutions are coming on loggerheads with each other. That's not a really a plausible situation. But I think the Honorable Chief Justice, he should he should reconsider the request of whole of the nation, of all the political parties, including PTI. You might remember, they were all crying that full court bench should be
Rana Sahab, the
constituted,
order is
and
still
it
not
should be
here.
this case.
The order that was supposed to
Let,
follow, it's not here
let's
yet.
see. Order will be there on within 2, 3, 4 days. Let's see what happens. Whether the PDM they go and review, or they challenge, or they go for other options which are available to them. The Parliament has been crying for the last 1 month. There were resolutions after the resolutions. And so much so, there were certain observations by honorable judges in a way that the Prime Minister has lost the majority. So he had to take the vote of confidence. And his strength of votes rather increased substantially. And it was 172 to 173. It rose to 180. So there is a tug of, in a way, struggle. I think that should be addressed by the Honorable Supreme Court dispassionately, and let him decide to go for full bench,
Let me
and
go to
then
Kundi
wait
Sahab.
within 10 days, 15 days, what will be decided.
Kundi Sahab, what do you expect from the order? As I was discussing with Rana Maqbool Sahab also, what do you expect from the order that is still not here? And initially, of course, the court said that it would come the same day. Do you think, of course, the way that these talks are happening and what happens, the seriousness of the participants, all of that is also going to figure in this order?
So this is going to be figured out in the order of the Supreme Court. Earlier, we have already clearly mentioned different political parties have said that the orders of the Supreme Court about this verdict was 4-3, not 3-2. And if Supreme Court is saying that if you listen to the minority decision and you are not going to go towards the majority decision, that's not fair, I don't know, because the decision is of 4-3. 4-3 means that majority is totally was against at that time. But thing is, Chief Justice of Supreme Court was stressing that we have to. And then again, they were starting to have dialogues. Dialogues are happening because couple of our coalition parties are not in the favor of dialogues, because thing is, in 9 years government of Imran Khan in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and 4 years in federal, he has brought so much polarization in the political parties that no one wants to sit with him on the dialogue table. So I pray and I hope that this dialogue should be fruitful. And if it's fruitful, then we should give the way forward to the nation of Pakistan, that the political instability is going to finish, economical instability is going to finish soon, inshallah. The friend countries of Pakistan, they are going to support Pakistan in this regard. So we are very hopeful that we will give. There is a lot of economical crisis going on, the price hike and things. So we are hopeful that in a couple of days or couple of weeks, we could give good news to the poor people of Pakistan, because things at that time, right now, the poor people and the middle class people are suffering. So there is
there a chance, like you yourself said, you said that there is now that either they chose to resign and walk out of the assemblies en masse, and now the move to want to come back. Do you think that there's a possibility that maybe, you know, because there are some seats, as I understand, on which the decisions are awaited from the court. There's some where on which the speaker's decisions are awaited. It's a little you know, mixed as far as the MNAs at this time are concerned. And the fact, do you think it's possible that those MNAs or those political representatives of the PTI will be allowed back or will come back to the assemblies, and perhaps then they will have a presence in the assemblies, and then, you know, there can be some, the political process can continue and there can be some agreement? Is that possible?
So, Maruf, look, the PTI MNAs, they have resigned from the National Assembly, and they were agitating that why our results are not accepted and blah, blah, blah. They were going towards office of speaker, and they were agitation outside the Election Commission and Parliament House, and they were saying accept our resignation. And when the resignation was accepted, then they say, no, we don't want to resign, we want to come to the Parliament. When the Election Commission has given the schedule for the dates of the by-election, they went to high courts, different high courts from each province and Islamabad, that the election should not be held, the by-election should not be held. So what Constitution says? This is the humble request from the Supreme Court, that what Constitution says? Did the Supreme Court took any action against those high courts who have stopped the election? It was in Constitution that in 60 days the election should be held. They were not held. The other thing is that in Punjab, the local government was dissolved. Till 4 years, there was no election of local government in Punjab, but Supreme Court took no action. Since local government election has been held, and there from 1.5 years, 2 years, and there is no election of mayor and deputy mayor. Supreme Court has not taken any single action. Thing is that if you are taking action, Supreme Court has the authority they can take. But thing is, if you are doing these type of things, then there is a question mark. And now you can see the family audio leaks are coming of the former and the sitting chief justice.
I want to talk about that. As far as the audio leaks are concerned, as far as, you know, the way that the tickets, according to these audio leaks, their accuracy, their, you know, whether they're accurate or not, you know, are still not confirmed. But what it looks like,
we demand for the funds profit. But thing is, there is something fishy. That's why it's coming. So there is something going on. So at the end of the day, you will know that these audio leaks.
You know, as to the audio leak, you know, on one particular election that happened, that was, you know, a day or two ago, relating to the former Chief Justice. I think those are, I think the PTI itself is also reviewing that ticket. But overall, of course, in terms of bringing people out, we saw earlier audios to that effect also. Do you think that, of course, if these marches are to continue, which is what the PTI is saying, they're going to ask their people to bring more people and, you know, to collect more people, to come out on the streets and to create as much, you know, whatever they call it, whether they want to say it's peaceful or not, but the power show or as a pressure tactic. So that, you know, that is something the government, you're saying, is prepared for.
Regarding the tickets of the PTI, I am not saying, you are not saying, media is not saying, but the PTI people who have applied for it, their party people, they are saying the tickets of PTI have like sold on. So majority of people are coming on media. Majority of people are coming on the social media, and they are telling everybody that this ticket for ABC constituency ticket has been sold by this amount of money and whatever thing is. The other thing is that the opposition of the PTI, they want to threat government that we will come on the roads or whatever thing is. They are more than welcome. We have seen it before. Your long march, your short march, or whatever you say, your long march, whatever, and your public meeting also. First, come out of your this bucket on your head. First, remove the bucket from your head, and then talk about public meeting and long march and whatever you want to. You want to do it tomorrow? They are welcome to do it today. We are ready for it.
Okay, fair enough. Let me go to Ikrar Sahab. Ikrar Sahab, of course, you know, as far as the government is concerned, from the PMLN also, Senator Sahab is saying that they're prepared for it. As far as PPP is concerned, Kundi Sahab is saying, you know, they're welcome to do it. But do you think it's going to have an economic cost or no?
I think this dirt must be clean as early as possible. I mean, in the presence of Imran Khan and his PTI style of, I mean, real politic, you cannot move ahead with Pakistan.
Okay.
So let it. I have been telling you many times. Let it be the final round.
Okay.
How much dirt, how much sluggish we have to go for now, because this country had been surviving 75 years for the last like this. Okay, do something so we can come out of this crisis. No, let this crisis be a serious crisis for political parties, for politicians, for parliament, and the parliament has decided after this serious crisis, the first time ever Pakistani parliament has demanded his defamation right. This is the first time. His contempt right. Had you ever thought about that? That someday Pakistan parliament would go and it would demand its own contempt right? So I'm telling you, let Imran Khan does everything what he is doing for the last almost 10 years and let it be here. Otherwise, if we will go again for cosmetic surgery, or if you go for again to find some way with Imran Khan, or I mean trying to negotiate
but
with
your
him.
court is saying, na, your court said that, you know, the parties
This
should
is
sit
court
together and come to
saying,
some agreement.
let them say. Court are not the last authority, and they are not the master and the teacher to tell everybody okay, what should I do. Unless I am standing in a court against any case.
Yes,
court has no right to tell me what should I think and what should I do.
Okay,
unless I am not doing something which is against the constitution and against the law and against the CRPC.
Fair enough, but overall, in terms of the way that, so you're expecting more upheaval, but you're saying it's going to happen,
yes,
and let
I
it
am
be.
ready for that. And you are talking about court. I mean, for the last 75 years, we have seen many cases. They are the part of history now. What about the Zulfikar Bhutto murder case? And what about sending Nawaz Sharif to home for not taking a salary from his son? So can you do? I mean, can you cite this case in any other case, or would not accept that case?
So you're saying that even as far as our legal system is concerned, it's going through a purging of its own. There's you know, perhaps a filtering, so to speak, because a lot of things are being exposed now.
Yes,
that
Maruf,
were not earlier
Maruf,
on the table.
there are I mean there are cases, there are some alleged audio tapes and audio leaks are there. Nobody is going to do the forensic. Why not? I mean, a person who is sitting in the highest place and there is a alleged audio against him, so should he not ask for a proper forensic for this audio?
But
why not?
But Agha Sahab, it's not, I mean, you know, of course, whether forensic happens or it doesn't happen, it's not setting the right kind of tone for politics as far as Pakistan is concerned.
So who is setting this tone?
Fair enough.
This is the question. I mean, Parliament has categorically said, okay, this is the time we must decide who is supreme. Is the Parliament supreme or the Supreme Court is supreme? If the Parliament that makes the constitution,
but
and
there
constitution
shouldn't be this war, no? It
Pardon?
should be a separation of powers. It is a separation of powers for all intents and purposes. There should not be this, this kind of a conflict.
But when you will rewrite constitution in Article 63 in Punjab case and saying कि okay, polling the vote is okay, but this vote which is polled would not be counted for. And here if you will use the conscience of the judge instead of the constitution of the Pakistan, then you are giving a space to the politicians to judge constitution according to their wills.
Right, unfortunately that's all the time that I have for this segment. We'll be taking a short break and coming back. Thank you so much for being with us. Agha Iqrar Haroon Saab, Rana Maqbool Ahmad Saab, Faisal Kareem Kundi Saab, thank you for joining us. We'll be taking a short break and we'll come back to talk about what's happening in two minorities, the Indian atrocities in Kashmir. Welcome back. We have with us Ali Raza Said, who's an expert on Kashmir affairs. He's also the chairman of the Kashmir Council EU. Thank you for joining us. Before we go and speak to him about what's happening and what the ramifications of these developments, these horrendous developments as far as the treatment being meted out to minorities in India is concerned, we'll be looking at a short package and we'll be right back.
A leaked audio call between Munish Sharma, an Indian journalist, asking one of his subordinates to distort facts about the killing of Mukhtar Hussain Shah, who died in police custody on April 27, has exposed Indian brutalities and human rights violations in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In the audio leak, Sharma could be heard directing Balkar Singh from Amar Ujala newspaper Samba about filing of a news story to cover up the incident.
मुख्तार 21 अप्रैल को मुख्तार हसन शाह और उसके परिवार के सदस्यों को पूछताछ के लिए हिरासत में लिया गया। एक दिन थाने में रखने के बाद नहीं तो मुझे बताओ ना, देखो ना 22 अप्रैल को छोड़ दिया गया तो थाने में रखने को कहाँ रखा होगा इनको? तो एक लाइन तो लिखनी पड़ी ना, एक दिन थाने में रखने के बाद इन्हें 22 अप्रैल को छोड़ दिया गया है। अच्छा फिर इसके बाद मुख्तार को 26 अप्रैल को दोबारा पेश होने के लिए बुलाया गया, पेशेवर बुलाया गया, लेकिन उसने पहले ही जहरीला पदार्थ लिख लिया और जिससे उसकी मौत होगी। ठीक है, जहरीला पदार्थ लिख लिया और जिससे उसकी मौत होगी। ठीक है, इस मामले में ये भी आपने लिखा निचली आना ना, ये मुख्तार करेंगे। चलो ठीक है, जान दो, जान दो।
According to Indian media, Mukhtar Hussain Shah was arrested on April 21st for interrogation by the Indian police on suspicion of his links with Poonch attack in which several Indian soldiers were killed, was briefly released and then summoned up for interrogation on April 26, but he died in mysterious circumstances. Locals of Mandhar area blocked the road in protest over his death. According to the Via, an Indian news outlet, the family of a 48-year-old man who died after being named as a suspect in the Poonch attack case has dubbed the magisterial probe ordered by the puppet IIOJK administration as an official cover-up. Seeking a judicial probe into the death of Mukhtar Hussain Shah, his family alleged that order of the magisterial inquiry was full of discrepancies. Rafaqat Hussain Shah, Mukhtar's brother, said the order reads like an attempt to cover up the truth. It is a farce. We reject it and demand a judicial probe. Rafaqat claimed that there were bruises and black marks on Mukhtar's back and thighs, suggesting that he was tortured in custody. If he has committed any wrong, let the investigators reveal the facts publicly. Why are they trying to hide the truth? He was quoted by the Via. Senior Superintendent of Police Poonch, Rohit Baskotra, hung up the call when the Via asked for his comments on the case. Similarly, Deputy Commissioner Poonch, Inderjeet, when contacted, said the matter was not within his jurisdiction now as he had been transferred out of the districts. A video on Mukhtar's phone showed him speaking incoherently and breaking down multiple times while alleging that he, his family and the neighbors were subjected to torture in the aftermath of the attack. Fahd Ahmed Missan, PTV World, Islamabad.
Ji, Ali Raza Sahab, pursuant to these latest developments, what do you think overall, as far as, of course, it's quite clear, it's always been the way that the propaganda machine has worked as far as India and their stance on Kashmir is concerned. We're seeing what happened as far as G20 is concerned, that the constant need to camouflage what the reality is. Do you think it's permeating into the world?
Thank you very much for giving me the
There's a problem with audio overall, of course, as far as this treatment of Kashmiris in India is concerned. There's little doubt about what's happening. We've also seen lately the developments that have been brought forth recently as far as the attack earlier on is concerned, as far as the treatment of minorities is concerned, as far as the constant need to camouflage and the propaganda from India is concerned. But the question really is whether it's actually now coming to a point where there are now people all over the world, as far as the international media is concerned, international community is concerned, there seems to be now a clear narrative that is going out, that is finally permeating into the international arena about what's happening. The propaganda seems to be finally exposing itself, the propaganda machinery as far as the treatment being meted out to minorities is concerned. Of course, it's reprehensible, and what's happening to Muslims particularly has now led to the same happening to other minorities in India. India being seen as a state which is not protecting other religions is now largely a fabrication, and that is also coming out and being exposed into the world. Perhaps it's time that as far as all the Muslim world is concerned, as far as to jointly launch our own information to target the kind of misinformation that has been coming forth from India. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us today and being with us. Thank you.